Hi, John Velie, CEO of OnlineVisas, and I'm here with another episode of Immigration Solutions during the coronavirus. Hey, we're going to talk about 5 things about immigration today, and then we're going to talk a little bit about 2020. So bear with us. 5 things about immigration today, and immigration and the stimulus payment. That's what I want to talk about. Stimulus checks have been going out. $1,200 have been claimed in people's accounts. They're pleasantly receiving those. But do you have a right to get that, or did you get it by mistake? So let's talk about 5 things. So 1, who gets a stimulus check if they're a visa holder? What visa holders can get a stimulus check? Well, you become eligible for a COVID-19 stimulus check. Few requirements to meet this to get to financial aid. You must have a Social Security number. You must have filed your 2019 taxes, but at least your 2018 taxes. So it doesn't quite sound like a requirement, but what it is. But there is, the thing is you have to be a tax... You have to be a resident for tax purposes. So not all non-immigrant visa holders will be able to qualify for the COVID-19 stimulus check. Only a select number. To be more specific, you have to get a check, you have to be categorized as a resident alien by IRS. So what's a resident alien? So, or what isn't a resident alien? A non-immigrant without a Social Security number would not be a resident alien. Or students on an F1 visa or a J visa or visiting parents are not eligible under this, right? So there's a thing called a substantial presence test for stimulus checks. So that means that if you've been present in the United States for at least 31 days in 2020, then you should have also been present in the United States 183 days within a 3-year period that includes not only 2020, but also parts of 2019 and 2018. Basically, this will be covering the physical presence for the whole of 2020 and another 4 months in the previous year, as well as 1/6 of 2018. How clear is that? So what's 183 days? So it's about 6 months. 6 months over the last 3 years is what that means, plus 31 days in this year. And you'll be able to meet the substantial presence test. So, but that doesn't include student visa holders on the J or F visa. Okay, so that's who gets it. Who doesn't get it? And this is a really interesting list. If you are married, an American citizen who's married, whose wife, they filed jointly, and whose spouse, I guess it could be husband or wife, American citizen with a husband or wife that filed jointly that does not have a Social Security number will not be able to get a stimulus check. I think what they're after is spouses of illegal aliens, right? I think that's what they're trying to do, but it's not going to be limited to them. So that's a really bad thing. Also, children, American citizen children with unauthorized or undocumented parents will also not receive that. And those folks have just filed a lawsuit. So all these kids have filed a lawsuit against the government for denying them their coronavirus stimulus checks in BuzzFeed.news. And another really interesting article that breaks down to this about the spouses who are immigrants not being able to get the stimulus check is an interesting article in the LA Times with a lot of anecdotes there. If you want to look more into that, you don't think that's fair. So those folks will not be getting this. Obviously, anybody that's unauthorized will not be getting it. Now, the weird thing is that some people are getting it accidentally. And there was an article that talked about this. Was really odd. So apparently on TurboTax, if you filed TurboTax and you accidentally filed the 1040 instead of the 1040R, I believe it is what it is, you would have accidentally said that you were a resident. If you did that, then you'll get the stimulus check even if you weren't. So there are people that have completed their studies in the United States on visas, filed under TurboTax using the wrong category accidentally, and they're receiving checks even though they're not in the United States. And some are keeping it, others are really frustrated what to do. So what do you do if you've gotten the stimulus check and you don't want to be penalized? Because another thing, if you file the TurboTax thing incorrectly, apparently you get a $1,200 deduction, and if you were a student visa on that, you would be getting that improperly, and IRS could come back and ping you for penalties and interest. So besides just wanting to be the right person that didn't collect money that wasn't theirs, you might not want to be pinged if that happens. So if you receive a stimulus check in error, what can you do? Okay, so some students, this is from OU, Oklahoma University's own website on stimulus checks to their students, saying that, students typically aren't going to be able to get this. So if you get one in error, here's what you should do. So they said that in the past, if they erroneously filed their taxes as a resident using software like TurboTax instead of a non-resident alien like using SprintTax, I guess that's the one you want to use. If you filed incorrectly, it's important that you amend and correct your previous tax returns for all your incorrect years. If you're in this situation, you likely owe the U.S. money, owe money to the U.S. government, and will probably need to file a return to stimulus check. So that's no good for those people that received that $1,200 check that you may have gotten it by accident. So look, don't immediately do that stuff. If you want to contact us or contact an accountant, I advise that strongly. So if you got one by mistake, that's what you do. So that's the one of the things that we're going to talk about on the 5 things in immigration. So who gets the stimulus checks? Those are people that have been in the United States for 30 days this year, 183 days over the last 3 years, really with a Social Security number. So if you're on a work visa, that's who gets them. Who doesn't get them? Number 2 question, folks that don't have Social Security numbers, even if married to U.S. citizens, and a U.S. citizen won't get theirs either. Children whose parents are unauthorized won't get theirs. That is number 2 on who won't get them. Number 3, will my stimulus check be taxed by IRS? No, it will not. Number 4, if I receive a stimulus check, will it make me a public charge? The answer is no. You will not be a public charge. It's a tax credit. It is not a public charge. So you don't need to declare you're a public charge if you got it. You won't get in trouble if you do it. And the 5th one we just answered, what do I do if I get a stimulus check by mistake? And that is amend your tax return. So that's John Velie with 5 things to know about immigration and the stimulus check. And that's what's going on. Other news, it's 2020. What an incredible year we've had. Have you ever wondered about 2020 in the past? It's one of those really significant years, right? I mean, 2020, perfect vision. We've heard all these plans. What's the plan for, our city, our state by 2020? I remember a number of years ago, I was listening to a talk radio sports guy talking about the plan for 2020 that our city had unleashed, and he started laughing, and it was really interesting what he was talking about. What will 2020 be like? Well, I don't think anyone thought 2020 was going to be shut down around the world because of the coronavirus. I also don't think anybody thought there would be murder hornets. I don't know if anybody heard about murder hornets even a couple days ago, but those guys have come out of the woodwork just to scare us, right? And then also, what isn't here that we thought would be here by 2020? It's really interesting because since the 50s, at least since the 50s, really with the boon of television, they've been telling us about the future. And there's 2 things that are really, really missing right now that we've been promised since the 50s. Flying cars and robots. Where the hell are they? I mean, is it really that difficult to make a robot? I mean, here we are. At the height of technology in the history of the planet, we're at the height of technology, and the only robots we have are these little circular guys that drive around your carpet and vacuum for you. I mean, like one of the worst and dumbest uses of a robot. I mean, doesn't everybody want a robot butler? I mean, isn't that what we're really after? Don't we want a robot to go get our beer, answer the door, do all those other things so we can just lounge around? I mean, that's what you want a robot for, vacuuming up a little spot in it. They don't even do a good job at it, by the way. I just think it's such a horrible thing. And I think with, our pure capitalistic economy, is there really not a demand for robot butlers? I mean, maybe people are freaked out about the robot thing, but make them a cuter thing. Like, I'd like a monkey robot butler. You don't want a real monkey, although they're really cute. You kind of want a real monkey, but the idea of real monkeys are horrible because, one, they throw poop. Two, they eat a lot. They're just like really bad children. So why would you want a really bad child? You can have your own children. You can adopt children. So a monkey's just not really a redeemable thing, in my opinion. Now, that an apology out to all the monkey owners out there. I'm sure you'll be beating up the phone lines with my anti-monkey statements. But I mean, what I'm really saying is, what if we made robots a more friendly-looking face? I mean, like a monkey, for example. Or a funny guy, or your funniest, actor that you like. I mean, I think we can do some good things there. I mean, I saw, some robots. There's this dog-shaped robot that came out of Boston. I don't know if it's MIT or Harvard or whatever, and they're using that thing, in a really nasty way, like police use it to try to, go after thieves and things like that. And that's just a really scary looking thing. And why can't we have a friendly robot? Or why don't we all have robots? The second thing, flying cars. What the hell? I mean, we've had flying cars around television shows forever. And I think in the plans of 2020, there should have been like lanes. We've been thinking about 2020 for at least since the year 2000. I mean, it's a really significant time frame. And I think if people were planning on 2020, they should have thought about flying car traffic and, creating, places for them. And I mean, look, flying cars, you don't have to have tires, much better gas mileage. And I think flying cars, look, Tesla, the guy, Tesla, Elon Musk, he wants to create rocket ships that go around the world. Well, he's already created cars. And the thing about Elon Musk that's really cool is that while all the car companies created cars that had really good computer systems, he made a computer drive. Right? So, all right, Elon, you're already creative. You're trying to, take people around the world. Why not just make your cars flying cars? I mean, you're already out there. Keep going. All you got to do is lift them off the ground a little bit. You got them by batteries. You don't have to have any gasoline whatsoever. But let's have some flying cars. A couple of things to think about. I'll leave you on that. This is John Velie, CEO of OnlineVisas. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe and share. If this is Facebook Live, good to see you. LinkedIn, good to see you too. Take care, all my friends. Mariana Cobra, good to see you out there watching. Ana Clueva, thanks for checking in. Mark Vandermolen, always good to see you, big man, out there on your boat in Hawaii. Fricky DeBeer, good to see you, Fricky. Colin Gentry's watching. Alan Petty, my good friend. Good to see all of you. Take care on this Blur's Day, I think is which day of the week it is. Enjoy the rest of your coronavirus. Take care.